Today we're going to go over how I made this Monarch Butterfly Wreath. It was pretty simple and pretty much a lot of fun, and it is a wonderful accent piece for spring. So let's get started. So the first thing I did was stamp my butterflies. And the stamp that I am using is the Iron Orchid Designs, the butterfly stamp. Has 10 separate butterflies in here, all ranging in different sizes, a beetle, a bee, a dragonfly. It's a great stamp for doing this kind of decor. I'm using this medium-sized stamp, and I am stamping on watercolor paper. It's a heavier paper, and it will make it much easier to cut out this butterfly, but also to adhere it to something that's home decor. If you use just a thin paper, it wouldn't work very well. So I'm going to make sure I've got that pretty well inked up, because the watercolor paper does absorb the ink, and you want to have a nice impression. So I've inked that up. I'm placing it down on my paper, and I am making sure I get all the edges, all the details. Lift it up a little so I can see, and it's perfect. She was escaping a little bit there. So that is how I would stamp on watercolor paper. I already have one started, and I'm going to use that just because I want to let that ink dry a little bit. So how did I get the colors? I got the colors by using my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers, and I used 3 different colors to get the blending and the shading. I'm going to move that slightly, of the Monarch Butterfly. A light color, a medium, and then kind of a more of a true orange. So I'm going to start with my dark color. And you could see I already did one, but I'm going to show you. You want to work in these small spaces, just one space at a time, because you want to blend and you don't want your ink to dry. It's alcohol ink, so you're going to smell the alcohol, and it will dry fast, especially in the winter heated home. So that is the darkest color, and then I'm going to put my lightest color. And while I'm doing my light color, I like to leave just a little bit of white. See that little tiny little bit of white that I'm leaving right there? It gives it a little bit of a highlight, makes it look a little more alive, like the sun's hitting it or something. Filling in the yellow. And I know you can't see my head. I did this on purpose so that you'd be able to see exactly what I'm doing. And now here, this is my medium color, which is kind of like a peach. I don't know if you can see that. But it's the medium color that makes this work. So what you're doing is now is you are coloring on the lines where the 2 colors meet and blending those 2 colors together. So you really don't see this color. It's kind of the color that blends them together. And it's a monarch, so I want it to be mostly orange, but with a little bit of yellow highlight. Okay, so I'm going to go back now, and I'm going to take my darkest color, and I want to put a little highlight. All these nice lines. There's enough ink on there that that is blending itself. And don't worry about the lines on the outside, because you're going to be cutting this out. Make that a little bit darker there. So as you can see, we've got that monarch orange, little tiny bit of yellow, but mostly orange. So you would go and you would do all 4 of those one at a time so that your alcohol ink does not dry up. So what I'm going to do now is, this is the trickiest part. Probably most people will not like this part, but you don't have to be exact. Get a pair of scrapbooking scissors and just cut. And you want to do one side at a time And I'm going to show you what I did to kind of the antennae to make them stand out a little bit, because they're really skinny on the stamp, which is fine, but when you want to use them on your wreath, you want them to stand up a little bit. Right, so I am getting in as close as I can. These are scrapbooking scissors, so they get a pretty good line. So I'm going to take my gray marker, and this is where I'm going to hit this body so that it doesn't stand out as having a lot of white on it. We want it to be all black. And once I've got that all done, and I've got it all 4 parts done, and it's all cut out, then is the time I've got to stamp the back. So I am going to take my stamp again, stamp pad, ink it up. Now these stamps don't seem to be an exact mirror image, so it may not fit exact, but it's really close. Put it over the stamp that the butterfly you just cut out. Get it as close as you possibly can. Press it down. And you've got a two-sided butterfly. You can see that the alcohol ink runs through to the back, and that's good, not a bad thing. So I'm going to do this part one, which is already all cut out, and we are going to color the back same exact way. I'm going to use the fatter side. It goes much quicker if you have a bigger space to use a fatter size marker. And I'm going to go ahead and do this part here because I'm going to work pretty quickly. And the other reason is I can see that the marker is bled through to the back and is still a little bit damp there. All right, that is my darkest color. Here is my lightest color, my yellow. Leave a little hint of white there, just a little. Then I'm going to take my medium color and I am going to blend those spaces where they overlap. Get rid of those lines. You don't want to see, you want to blend. You don't want to see where the two colors meet. And you can see that's a really nice blend because you can sort of see from the dark to the light. I don't know how well you can see on the video, but you can sure see how it's done. And you can see this marker is, you can hear it, it's getting ready to need a new, to be refilled. That's the other reason I like the Spectrum Noirs. You can refill them. You're not filling the landfill with markers. You can refill these, which is an awesome thing. Let's get a little more of that dark orange. They would. Like it till you're happy with the way it looks, and then you would do both sides, all 4, and decide which side you like best of your butterfly. What I did afterwards is I take my blunt end of my scissors and I just want to get a little indentation along the body So make a little bit of a line. And what you're doing, you're making a little crease. And then you want to make your butterfly fly. Give him some life. And then I have the wreath. It's just a fern wreath. Nothing fancy, really, really simple. And I simply took my glue gun and glued them down all over the wreath. I used 2 different sizes of the butterfly stamp to get small ones and big ones. And again, like I said, if you do both sides, that when they're up, they look very real-like when they're standing up. And that is how we got the butterfly.